A North Korean fisherman had engine trouble with his boat. He had no choice but to call for help from South Korean border guards. But the South Koreans treated him like a spy and sent him to the National Intelligence Service. On the way there, the man kept his eyes shut the entire time. Even when a South Korean officer urged him to open his eyes and look at the modern buildings, he refused. He knew that if he saw what South Korea looked like, he would be in danger once he returned to North Korea. At the agency, all of his personal items were confiscated. Then he was taken into an interrogation room. He explained that his fishing boat had broken down and drifted into South Korean waters, and that he was not a spy. But the investigator did not believe him. The investigator told him to write down his entire life history from childhood to the present. The man did it. Then the investigator had someone bring him a meal. It was a simple dish, but it was the best meal the man had ever tasted. However, the investigator was not being kind. He only wanted the man to relax and make a mistake. Later, the man was forced to rewrite his story again and again. Even in the middle of the night, he was woken up to write it one more time. The investigator read each version over and over, searching for flaws. By the end of the day, the man had written it more than 10 times. Finally, he lost his temper and cursed the investigator. For that, he was beaten. But the beating violated regulations, and the superior officer found out. He scolded the investigator for hitting a defector. If the media found out, it would damage the country's image. So the superior reassigned the investigator to another case and handed the fisherman over to the resettlement team. Their attitude was completely different. They gave the man a large room and delicious fruit. They wanted him to stay in South Korea. A woman tried to persuade him to become a South Korean citizen. If he agreed, they would give him an apartment and teach him work skills. The man was tempted. But then he remembered his wife and children back in North Korea. He refused and demanded to be sent back immediately. In the restroom, he met another North Korean. That man had defected with his daughter to start a new life in South Korea. But he had suddenly been arrested and treated like a spy. Before he could finish talking, guards dragged him away. Not long after, he escaped from the interrogation room. His face was covered in bruises. Moments later, he committed suicide. It turned out the investigator wanted a promotion. He forced defectors to admit they were spies. He had already ruined the lives of several people. The fisherman had almost become one of them. Watching his fellow countrymen die in front of him, the fisherman felt shock and grief. Later, a member of the resettlement team gave him a hat and said he would take him home. On the way, the man kept his eyes shut again, just like when he had been captured. The staff member asked why he would not look at South Korea. The man said, "If I see it, I will remember it. When I go back and they question me, I will not be able to hide it. Then my family and I will not survive." The staff member felt sorry for him. In fact, he did not plan to return the man to North Korea. He wanted to show him the outside world and convince him to stay. He dropped the man alone in the middle of a busy street. Hearing the noise around him, the man realized he had been tricked. He stood still with his eyes closed, refusing to look. Agents from the security service were secretly watching. They had someone bump into him on purpose to make him open his eyes. He finally looked. He saw bright lights, tall buildings, and stylishly dressed people. In that moment, he felt like he had stepped into another world.